Hey, 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 happy Wednesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. Tonight is September 1st, 2021. This is live stream 691. So if this is your first time joining me, let me point out that this is very, very casual. We just hang out talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news, and normally we'll share a first look at a said tabletop game. Tonight, a little bit different. I am actually going to review and page through Pathfinder Secrets of Magic from Paizo Inc. That is right. It's been, it's been at least a year since I did a game review on the live stream. I tend to find them, sometimes game reviews when I'm doing them live can come off the rails pretty easily. So, but I thought to myself, hey, you know what? Secrets of Magic goes on sale today. Why not share a live review of it? So if you're tuning in and you're here to check out Secrets of Magic, let me point out that about the first half of the show is devoted to the latest in tabletop gaming news. So that's usually around 30 minutes or so. If you are tuning in after the stream ends, then have no fear, because within a few minutes of the show ending, I will have timestamps up. So if you don't want to catch the latest in tabletop gaming news, you can always just jump ahead to the review. So also want to point out, I've got some giveaways tonight too for people who are watching live. That's right. I am going to be giving away the Starfinder Galaxy Exploration Manual from Paizo Inc. And I am going to be doing trivia again. I like to kind of throw out little bits of trivia for people to win stuff. I've also got Starfinder Horizons of the Vast Planetfall and the first chapter of the Strength of Thousands adventure path for Pathfinder. And this is Kindred Magic. So we've got reviews of all three of these titles up on thegaminggang.com. In fact, I've got video reviews of the Galaxy Exploration Manual as well as Planetfall. So first thing I do want to point out, here's your first chance. And I will point this out during the show if nobody has got the correct answer yet. But if you'd like to win this copy right here, and you have to, okay, a couple of things. You have to live in the continental United States. Sorry. It's just how it works. And you have to be a subscriber. So to take part in chat, you have to be a subscriber anyway. So there is that. So you can't chime in with an answer to the trivia question if you haven't been a subscriber for, I think it's, if I remember right, I think it's 48 hours. So in order to win the Galaxy Exploration Manual, you need to tell me, what team is this on my cap? What team does this represent? And like I said, first person in chat who gets it right will win the Galaxy Operation Manual. Also want to point out, those of you who are not watching live, I will be giving away PDFs of each of those items as well to folks who watch after the fact or who comment on the video. Doesn't matter if you watch it live or not. All right. So I should point out, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live right here on YouTube, it'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as my review of the Swords and Wizardry Complete Box Set from Frog God Games. So that review went up yesterday. Excuse me, a little tickle in my throat here. It was very dusty down here in the duct tape studios. We were doing a bit of work on one of the walls, and a lot of dust. Like, I shouldn't say like regular dust. It's more like wall dust, rock dust. Ugh. Anyway, I should also point out tomorrow, be sure to tune in for my review of Call of Cthulhu Horror on the Orient Express, both volumes from Chaosium Inc. That will be up in the morning. Should also mention that this is a live stream. So if you are hanging out, by all means, chime in. The chat's not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, comment, maybe you want to chime in with a guess on the trivia questions, by all means, please do. I will do my best to respond. So far, Nicholas Stanishek was first out the gate in chat. We've got Viper Dave. Clint Gibson is with us as well. So, Viper Dave said, Blackhawks, Cubs. Okay, I should point out, you get one guess. You get one guess. That is it. So that way we don't have like a flood of people. But both of those guesses are incorrect. Blackhawks, Cubs. How would... Yeah. All right. So, should also point out, when you're now watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Before we jump into the news, do want to mention that 11 years ago today, my best friend Elliot Miller and I launched the Gaming Gang. We rolled out the website to the public. Funny thing is, we had been posting on the website for about a month. So when we did go public and we told people, we went on to like Board Game Geek and announced ourselves and things like that, people would visit the site. We had a lot of content. All these people were like, wow, I never knew you guys were around. And it's like, no, because we didn't tell anybody, because we didn't want to have a website where you'd see it all the time. Somebody'd say, hey, check out my new website. And you'd go there and there's one post. And you're like, there's no reason for me to come back. So, yes, this is the 11th anniversary. Tomorrow, I start off on my 12th year of covering the hobby. Not too bad. I've had a good time. I enjoy myself just as much, if not maybe even more, now than I did back then. So, Nicholas is throwing out his guess, Timberwolves. That is not correct. All right, let's jump on into the news, because I've got an eclectic mix. And I'm sure folks are going to want to jump on into Pathfinder Secrets of Magic as soon as possible. There is a new title that's out for, or I should say, it arrives this month for Good Games Publishing. Here's what I know about Land versus Sea. Part puzzle, part game. Play as either land or sea, or the cartographer in a 3-player game. Each player plays with 2 double-sided hex tiles containing a mix of land and sea shapes. They take turns placing a tile, each to make a map together. Land places tiles trying to complete land areas, and sea places tiles trying to complete, you guessed it, sea areas for the sea. Some tiles score bonus points for whoever completes the area they are in. So players may decide to strategically complete rivals' areas to gain their bonus points. Other tiles allow players to play their second tile or steal a player's tile, but not their last one. Using two double sided tiles, one side always revealed and the other always hidden until played, means there's partial information to plan around and some surprises too. Players replenish back to two tiles from a choice of two face up tile stacks. I notice there's a theme here with two, two, two. The strategy of the game involves careful tile placement to score from as many land or sea areas as possible while minimizing your rivals' opportunities to score from the tiles you play. Watch your rivals' possible plays and control tempo strategically with play again and steal tiles. Look out for opportunities to score valuable bonus points in your and your rivals' areas. Carefully select tiles as you replenish your own supply and prepare for your next turn. Game ends once someone has, or a team has, the most points when the last tile is placed. Land versus Sea is for 2 or 4 players. Or I should say 2, 2, 4. And Ages 14 and up plays in around 40 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $29.99 when it hits stores later this month. This looks pretty interesting. Once again, I always pointed out I'm a sucker for tile laying games. Always have enjoyed the vast majority that I played, not every single one. And I got to point out, Good Games Publishing, I like their Fun, Fair, and Unfair. Those are very, very good games. So this is something I'm curious about. So we'll see. We'll see. Maybe I'll reach out to the fine folks over at Good Games and see about maybe checking this out. I got to be honest. I don't know if they're going to be at Gen Con or not. I'll take a peek. So yes, 245 Try Oxen has joined us in chat. Yes, the trivia question is, what is this team represented by my hat? So, and if you get it right and you live in the continental U.S., you will win this copy of Starfinder Galaxy Exploration. Galaxy Exploration Manual. I don't know why I suddenly zoned out on it. Ha ha ha. All right. So, speaking of Gen Con, the second edition of Great Western Trails is slated for a Gen Con release. It is coming from Eggertspiel and Plan B Games. Here's the skinny. America in the 19th century. You're a rancher and repeatedly herd your cattle from Texas to Kansas City, where you send them off by train. This earns you money and victory points, needless to say, each time you arrive in Kansas City. You want your most valuable cattle in tow. However, the Great Western Trail not only requires that you keep your herd in good shape, but also that you wisely use the various buildings along the trail. Yeah, like Lonesome Dove. Also, it might be a good idea to hire the capable staff, like cowboys to improve your herd, craftsmen to build your very own buildings, as well as, geez, for some strange reason tonight, my teleprompter is not behaving. It's like, what's going on here? It's like jumping all over the place. Anyway, you're going to hire capable staff, cowboys to improve your herd, craftsmen to build your very own buildings, and engineers for the important railroad line. If you cleverly manage your herd and navigate the opportunities and pitfalls of the Great Western Trail, you will surely gain the most victory points and win the game. This new second edition of Great Western Trail will include solitaire rules, making for a player count of 1 to 4. Great Western Trail is the critically acclaimed game of cattle ranching by Alexander Pfister. Players attempt to wrangle their herd across the Midwest prairie and deliver it to Kansas City. But beware, other cowboys are sharing the trail with you. We invite you to saddle up. Great Western Trail is once again for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in 75 to 120 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $59.99. Sweet. I have heard very good things about Great Western Trail. Disavow 92 has joined us in chat, and they are pointing out that GWT is a great game. Here's the thing. If I remember correctly, for most of the time when the cattle drives were going from Texas to Kansas, I didn't think they went to Kansas City. Didn't they go to Wichita? I don't know. I'm trying to remember. Or was it Abilene? Yeah, but Abilene's Texas. I thought, yeah, for some reason, I don't recall them going as far as Kansas City. I could be absolutely, completely wrong. I'm just mentioning it. All right, let's jump on into some role-playing game news because Bundle of Holding has a new money-saving offer. Features the City of Mist role-playing game from Son of Oak Game Studio. Here's the deets. Adventurer! This new City of Mist bundle presents City of Mist, the comic book epic myth neo-noir detective tabletop role-playing game from Son of Oak Game Studio, about ordinary people with legendary powers in a mystery-shrouded metropolis. Using a simple but powerful narrative system based on the Apocalypse game engine and custom tags. See, once again, it's driving me nuts with this. This teleprompter is just not behaving right. It's like all over the place. Let's see if I can adjust this for a second. See, that's what happens when you get stuck. When you're reading stuff off a teleprompter. But then again, what am I supposed to do? Have a piece of paper with the sell sheet info and I'm just sitting here reading it? All right. So also includes custom tag-based motivation and advancement rules. City of Mist combines the super detective mood of Daredevil and Jessica Jones with mythic themes out of the Fables comics and Neil Gaiman's American Gods. You and your crew investigate strange cases and face off with other modern-day legends while you struggle to balance your everyday life with the mythos inside you. Hit the streets. This bargain-priced offer brings you PDFs of the complete City of Mist Player's Guide and MC Toolkit core rulebooks, funded in a big October 2016 Kickstarter campaign, the All-Seeing Eye starter set from a November 2019 Kickstarter, and many source books and cases. Everything you need for a complete urban fantasy campaign in the mean streets of this haunted city. For just $19.95, you get all 5 titles in the starter collection with a retail value of $75 as DRM-free PDFs, including the All-Seeing Eye Investigation Starter Set, the complete City of Mist Player's Guide and MC Toolkit rulebooks, plus the free Quick Start rules. And you also will receive game maps and the MC screen. If you pay more than the threshold price of $30.93, you'll level up and also get our entire bonus collection with 9 more titles worth an additional $88, including the player options rules expansion If Dreams Could Kill, the Council of Avatar sourcebook Don't Believe the Truth, the 3K story arc, the Personal Vein, 3 city district guides, and the City of Mist soundtrack. These savings run through September 30th. 10% of your payment after gateway fees will be donated to this City of Mist offers pandemic-related charity, Direct Relief. So, I think City of Mist is a very interesting role-playing game. And yes, it is based on the Apocalypse engine. So it is powered by the Apocalypse. I did a first look at both the Player's Guide as well as the MC's Toolkit. The Master of Ceremonies is what they call their game master in this game. And very, very unusual. It is it is very interesting. It is not a typical powered by the apocalypse sort of game. So if you've ever been curious, this is the time to jump on in and score a pretty sweet deal on a bunch of PDFs for City of Mist. All right, so 245 Trioxin asks, is the hat the Coyotes? It is not. Sarah D has joined us in chat as well. She's pointing out I should get one of the cats to hold up a cue card. I don't know if that'll work. I don't know. They could lay there and I could prop cue cards up against them because all they basically do is sleep. So, especially Pinky. Pinky sleeps a lot. All right, moving right along. The 3 issues of the Dark Scrolls OSR 5e zine from Xacur is available in print and PDF. Here's what I know. Dark Scrolls is a 48-page old-style black and white RPG zine, which aims to share inspiration for new content on role-playing games, not just old school, but also newer ones based on 5th edition. Issue 1 includes a short dungeon adventure with new monsters, 20 new magic items, new monsters from the Dragon Mountain, 18 new spells, random tables, and more. Issue 2 includes 3 new families of dragons and a total of 5 new dragon types, layers with maps for each dragon type, dragon magic and draconic spells with dragonic triggers, 10 new dragon-related magic items. Issue 3 includes a town generator with random tables, a high-level dungeon, all new monsters from that dungeon with stats for 5e and old school Renaissance, as well as new powerful magic items. Each issue is available right now in softcover for $9 or in PDF for $7 over at Drive-Thru RPG. These 3 issues were kickstarted, and I think this is it. I think there's only 3 issues. I don't think there's more issues on the horizon. I gotta say, the cover artwork on these is pretty nice for being zines. So, seemed kind of interesting. And yeah, it actually pulled in a decent amount during its Kickstarter as well. So I'm always on the lookout for things that are a little off the beaten track. And I thought Dark Scrolls certainly looked like it. All right, my final news piece. There is a fresh release for Symborum, which has arrived from Free League Publishing. Here's the skinny on the Adventure Collection. A nation on the run, a homeland ravaged and barren. To say in Albertor would mean certain death. Only fools, like me, I guess, and those who have vowed to die on their native soil would consider going back. Under these circumstances, the people are truly blessed to have such an abundantly rich destination ahead. Umbria, the promised land. You are but one of many who have traveled across the snow-clad passes of the Titans. You have set foot in your new homeland, but there is still much to learn. The journey takes you to Thistlehold, the town of explorers and treasure hunters bordering the great forest of Davakar. From there, it continues out into the forest, brooding over ruins and powerful artifacts from the olden days of Symborum, and then back to the internal conflicts of the Queen's people and realm. The journey will undoubtedly transform you, make you regard the world and yourself with entirely new eyes, provided, of course, that you reach the end of the road with eyes to see, a life left to live, and a mind not consumed by darkness. The Symborum Adventure Collection assembles the content of 3 previously published products, featuring 6 adventures that demonstrate what different kinds of stories may play out in the game world. Forest expeditions, excavations of ancient ruins, political intrigues, even witch hunts and murder mysteries. So turn down the lights, make the world around you disappear, and get ready to enter the wondrous world of Symborum. This is a 226-page PDF bringing together the Copper Crown, Adventure Pack number 2, and Adventure Pack number 3. These are 6 full-length different adventures as well. And this is available as both a hardcover. The hardcover is $39.99. You can also get the PDF for $17.99 over at Drive-Thru RPG. And that is it for the news tonight. Of course, I was just talking about Drive-Thru RPG with the last 2 news items. Do want to mention that the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit, say, Drive-Thru RPG, please swing by the gaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep the Gaming Gang around. So thank you, everybody who does that. There are a lot of people out there who actually use our banners before they go over to, they just click it in, takes them over. Just a link with an affiliate code. And it really does help out. Really does quite a lot. Say it all the time. I do not have cheapo hosting for the gaminggang.com. Can't pull in the kind of traffic that we do on, GoDaddy $5 a month hosting. So thankfully, just about every month, the little, nickels, dimes, and quarters from the drive-through sites pays for the hosting. Big thumbs up. All right. So once again, do want to point out I'm going to have 3 giveaways tonight for physical Paizo products. And then I am also giving out PDFs. I'm going to randomly choose people who comment on this video to win a copy of each of these in PDF. So once again, I am going to point out that if you'd like to win a copy of the Starfinder Galaxy Exploration Manual, in fact, the one that's in my hand right here, got to tell me what team does this baseball cap represent by the end of the show, because I will tell you at the end of the show. So, yes. That's how you're going to win this one. And then I also have Kindled Magic for Pathfinder, which is the first chapter of the brand new adventure path, as well as Planetfall, which is also the first chapter of a Starfinder adventure path that has just come out as well. And we've got reviews of all 3 of these. 2 of them are video reviews, and the other, Kindred Magic, is a written review by Sammy. So by all means, definitely check that out. Also, if you're guessing what team this is, you only get 1 guess. So that way we don't have chat all flooded with. It's the Bulls, the Chicago Bulls. All righty. So before we jump in and start taking a look at Secrets of Magic as I review Pathfinder Secrets of Magic, also want to point out that there is currently week 4 of the Gaming Gang auction going on, and it is completely devoted to the entire run of Adventure in Middle Earth from Cubicle 7 Entertainment. It is every release for that system. And of course, these are out of print, and they will never see print again because Cubicle 7 no longer has the license to J.R.R. Tolkien's works. So the Madman, who I believe is gaming tonight, every other Wednesday is a gaming night for him, was very kind to provide these as an auction item to help out the Gaming Gang. So that's pretty wild, pretty cool. So I do want to point out this is available. It is as one single item. You cannot bid on individual books. And it's only going to be available this week. So the auction's going to run till 10 p.m. on Sunday night. And if nobody, ends up bidding on it, it's going to go to eBay. I will have nothing to do with it after that. So it does have an opening bid, I should say, of $600. And I know some folks out there will be like, what? Zoinks! Steam blowing out their ears. But I have to point out, there are a couple of titles in this collection that each go for more than $220 on the secondary market. So it's actually a really damn good deal. So just wanted to point that out. Anyway, just wanted to mention that. Moving right along. Once again, if you joined me late, did want to mention that today marks the 11th anniversary of the gaminggang.com. It was 11 years ago today. My best friend Elliot Miller and I got together and we let people know about the Gaming Gang. So kind of cool. So tomorrow I, embark on my 12th year of covering the hobby. So pretty sweet, pretty cool. And of course, 2 weeks from today, I will be in Indianapolis getting ready for Gen Con. Usually Wednesday, they've got some like retailer stuff going on that they let the press go to. Plus, I'm able to pick up my press passes without standing in a big long line, things like that. So very cool. I'm looking forward to that. Going to be staying over at the Crown Plaza. I almost said Crown Royale. Womp womp. All right. So tonight, I am changing things up a little bit. I am actually doing a review tonight. I'm going to do a review and page through of Pathfinder Secrets of Magic, which is from Paizo Inc. It's written by Logan Bonner and Mark Seifter, but assisted by tons of people. We'll try to give them a little bit of little time in the spotlight as well. This 256-page hardcover is available as of today. Today was its street date. It was delayed like a week. You can pick up the hardcover for $49.99. You can get the pocket edition. Yes, there's already the pocket edition that's available. It is $24.99. Or you can score the PDF for a pretty sweet deal, $14.99. So let's swing on over to the other camera because here we've got Pathfinder Secrets of Magic. So one of the first things that caught my eye is the trade dress is a little different. The trade dress is different on this book because normally second edition releases have this, but we've got that. And I swear it is the only Pathfinder release that I have seen with this kind of trade dress. I don't know what that represents. If it's just, okay, well, it's just a thing. But I was kind of curious that I wonder if it's got this trade dress because a good amount of what's in this book is not necessarily official, or at least I don't have the impression that it is official. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. Phil Jothman has joined us. Good to see you, Phil. Thanks for popping on in. Phil actually had a question, which I had noticed as well. I was going to actually tackle this once we jumped into this. So Phil says that I have found that Pathfinder is a little too combat heavy for my tastes. I've actually never said that. I have said that there are adventures from Paizo that I have found to be too combat heavy. And that happens a lot with even 5th edition and Pathfinder for my taste. Because I happen to be a game master who can provide, action and tension without actually having to resort to just combat. So Phil says, yeah, that's true. They're redacting their question. Well, but I mean, it is true that I do say with the Adventure Path chapters, there have been some that I thought were just way too combat heavy. I give you a prime example. I was just, when I reviewed the Starfinder, Planetfall, there were some issues. There were some things I thought were very cool, and then there were some things that I was like, I don't care for this at all. All right, so let's take a look at the back real quick. Seize the secrets. Discover the untold potential of magic. Create a unique and powerful spellcaster using the new Magus and Summoner classes. Choose from over 200 new spells with options for all spellcasters. Excavate new magic items and dive into lore that explores the mysteries of magic in detail. Elementalism, geomancy, shadow magic, rune magic, and pervasive magic that alters the entire game world are all here in Pathfinder Secrets of Magic. So Kevin R. Smith has joined us, and Kevin has points out, because those of you who follow the Gaming Gang regularly know that I am a Call of Cthulhu keeper, have been for decades. CFC is my game of choice. And yes, Kevin is right on the money. Fighting is usually the last resort. And usually if it comes down to combat, outside of, taking on the mooks, the jamooks, things have broken down. And if the player characters are battling it out with deep ones, things are probably not going to end well. All right, so when I said we've got loads and loads of writing credits, I was not kidding. In fact, I will zoom in as close as I can get. That's as far as I can zoom in here with the way this camera is set up. But we've got all these writing credits, loads and loads of writing credits. We've got loads and loads of artist credits as well. So there are a lot of folks who were working hard to put this game book together. I'll zoom back out a little bit. Not too far. That's good. So I'm going to page through. I'm not going to show off every single page in this, but I am going to talk about some aspects of this that I really think are very, very cool. What I think most people are going to be very excited about. There are some things I'm a little less keen on. And there is a lot in here. In fact, this whole 5th section is really the big optional aspects that probably many gamers who play Pathfinder 2nd Edition probably aren't going to dive into. But we'll talk about that. Now, I'm not saying that, it's no good. I don't mean that. But it's a bunch of optional kind of aspects of magic, because one of the big deals with this book that folks over at Paizo were fielding a lot of questions about was the Vancian magic, which is essentially D&D Pathfinder magic is Vancian magic. Cast a spell and the spell is gone. You have to rest and like replenish your mental energies and things like that. And that is based on the various Jack Vance stories from the 50s through the 80s. And it just happens to be how D&D put together their magic system. And of course, because Pathfinder is basically open game license, it actually uses Vancian magic as well. So the Book of Unlimited Magic offers a slew of options outside of Vancian magic, or that tweak Vancian magic. All right, so we're going to get into the introduction here and talking about the essentials of magic, the different traditions of magic, the arches of magic. And there are 4 traditions of magic, and there are 8 arches of magic as well. And a lot of this section here is presented as if it's portions of letters or books. As you can see here, we get a bunch of different fonts as well. We get the essences. So these are the four main, I call them traditions I like this section and I don't like this section. So this is what's kind of funny. So if it was all presented as, hey, this is like game master material or player material, I would have liked it better. There's this kind of like presentation of it like, oh well, this is taken from a dissertation by blah 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 the sorcerer, and to me it's a little silly because it kind of bounces around. Because now, when we get into this section here about the arches, then now it's back to essentially gaming information. It's presented to the gamer in a game book sort of way. So each of these arches are going to have their colors, celestial body, season, plant, animal, stone, hero cards. One thing I thought was kind of funny is there's one of them, the animal is a caterpillar. And it's like, you do realize the caterpillar is not an animal. So Phil says, seeing the art style they embraced on this has me wishing they unleashed it earlier. Those borders are just insane. Yes, I love the borders. Glad you pointed that out. Here's one aspect of the artwork that I do want to mention is that it is very, very uneven. And I'm not going to ding the book real hard because of the artwork, because the reality is you don't normally purchase a game book for the artwork. The artwork is a bonus. It's good, the juice is flowing in that. Some of the artwork is really soft. And this seems like this book has once again embraced that older style of artwork where the character models had a much more cartoonish look to them, as opposed to what we've seen more recently with second edition. I mean, it's not horrible. I think that's pretty cool looking, but you will see there are some that are kind of not very detailed. I mean, and some of the artwork reminds me of stuff that you would see from a much smaller company than Paizo. And I know there's people out there that are going to say, "Oh, well, hang on. Paizo likes to include artwork from a lot of the fans of their games and things like that." Yeah, okay. Like, also because that artwork is a lot less expensive than other artists' artwork. So we get the different arches there. We get magical backgrounds. We get 18 new magical backgrounds, and these are fun. Got some cool, like Academy Dropout, Beauty School Dropout, False Medium, Musical Prodigy, Student of Magic. Some of them are rare. Right here, we got some rare magical backgrounds as well, like Genie Blast or Time Traveler or Seer of the Dead. Then we get into the two new classes. So we got the Magus. We also have the Summoner. These are big selling points to this book. I know a lot of people are pumped about the Magus and the Summoner. These are very cool classes. I really like these a lot. I have to laugh because the Magus is essentially a fighter magic user, or in other words, like an old school D&D elf. When you had race as class. So we get into each of the different classes here. So the Magus, we've got a lot of page space devoted to these character classes as well. One of the things I really like about Pathfinder, and in my opinion, I think this is probably the biggest selling point for a lot of people, outside the fact that there is so much material that comes out for both Pathfinder and Starfinder. There is a lot of support for both role-playing games from Paizo. I think the biggest aspect of this is just the customization of your player characters. There are so many different directions you can go within a character class with various different archetypes and the different feats and selecting, making your own choices of how your player character is going to be presented as they gain levels. I like how we also have this little advancement chart here that's going to tell you, okay, so your characters just reached 10th level. What do you get? Okay, so we get ability boosts, we get a mage's feat, and we get a skill feat. And there are loads and loads of feats available. Now, the big selling point of the mages is the ability for them to take a spell and kind of cast it onto their weapon. So when they hit with the weapon, they're doing both the weapon damage as well as the spell effect. So that's pretty interesting there as well. We do get some new spells. Other aspect of Pathfinder I do like as far as like the magic users, there are cantrips, but unlike other fantasy role playing games, there is a limit to the number of cantrips that a player character can cast. And the funny thing is, I won't name any names of other role playing games that their magic users have cantrips, and it's just they can cast them every single turn. And a lot of times, these cantrips have been introduced because the reality is, old school D&D, if you were a magic user first level, you had a spell. Basically, you had essentially a spell slot that you would use with a first level spell. And that put magic users at a disadvantage. So suddenly we had the cantrips, and the cantrips, some of them were interesting spells, but a lot of them were just, yeah, okay, light. All right, cool. So you provide a little ball of light. It's like torchlight almost. And then they started to get pretty powerful to the point where cantrips were actually providing more damage per round than a fighter normally would be able to score. And that's at first level. So I like the fact that we do have the limit to how many cantrips can be cast. So we also have some sample mages as well that are included here. The Arcane Scrappa, the Arcane Fist. We had some new stuff for monks in here too, which I thought was kind of cool. We get the Spell Sniper. And once again, we've got loads and loads of different feats to choose from. Then we've got the Summoner. And I know a lot of people were very excited about the Summoner and their Eidolon. I think that's how it's pronounced. And we have various types that can be summoned as well. So we've got the different kinds of Eidolon. So we're going through some of those as well. So some of them are, because of course you can have evil summoners. So some of them are more demonic. So let me get into our feats. And once again, we've got just loads and loads of customization opportunities here. That said, I say it all the time. Pathfinder 2nd Edition is one of the crunchier fantasy role-playing games out there. It is not the crunchiest. I think, I always want to say Castles and Crusades, but it's not actually Castles and Crusades. It's Chivalry and I think it's C&C. I think it's called, I saw the book once and I started paging through it. This was at a convention. I was like, oh my gosh, like no way. So we've got some sample summoners as well. Then we got some new multi-class archetypes for both the mages as well as the summoner as well. Chivalry and sorcery, thank you. Thank you, Phil and Kevin. That is exactly it. And I checked out, it wasn't the most recent edition. This is a few years back. And I was like, I'm like, no way. I'm like, no way. And I think it's even crunchier now. Phil says, thanks, Google. Busting out the Google. So then we get over 200 spells. All right, so talking about that soft artwork. So this is an example. Now this actually I like the presentation of it. I like what it's showing. But once again, this is just really soft. This is very soft looking artwork. And it has the very cartoonish style to it. It's just very, very weird. So we get a bunch of new spells. Actually, the Primal and Occult, those two have the most spells in here. Just kind of zip on through, give you an idea. See now, strangely enough now, same character that we've seen presented throughout the book, much more realistic representation. So like I said, the artwork is just in style. It's just a real mixed bag. But there's a lot of cool looking art too. And then I'm going to have to pick on Victor Leza. I think that's how his name is pronounced. You know, I bet he's a super nice person. And, you know, I've seen some of his artwork that's very cool. But I'm not a fan. And he's got a piece of artwork in this, and I'm like, ugh. I know. I don't mean to pick on him. So you get tons and tons of new spells, which are very, very cool. I know that's what a lot of gamers who enjoy their fantasy role-playing games, you tell them, hey, there's a new spell book coming. They come running. I can't tell you specifically how useful all of them are going to be. Now, keeping in mind that there are a good number of spells that are designed specifically for the mages as well as the summoner, but there's also spells here for just about any of the spell casting classes. See, once again, there's another piece of artwork it's just very soft. I know I'm harping on the artwork. I really shouldn't, because at the end of the day, it's really not gonna. I'm not digging the book that hard for the artwork. There you go. That's Victor Leza's work. I just don't like his faces. It's just me. And you would see a lot of his artwork in Call of Cthulhu Adventures, and to me, his faces always look like they're ugly. And it's funny because he's done some artwork for Warhammer Fantasy Roleplay where you would sort of want the characters to look kind of ugly because it is a grim, dirty kind of black comedy sort of setting. But even in that, like I said, I hate saying this because I'm sure he's a super, super nice person. And he is a good artist. It's just I don't like his faces. All right, so now we get into some magic items. And we get some new types of magic items. So we'll get Fulus. I think that's how it's pronounced. Which these are like paper charms that contain spells. So they're used in rituals. I thought these were kind of interesting. Of course, there's information how to create them. So Phil says not all of us can be as pretty as you. We didn't get out of here, Phil. Jeez. We need representation for us ugly folks. Yeah, but it's just his artwork, and everybody's like all super wrinkled, even the younger people, and they all have this sickly look. It's weird. All right, we get some grimoires. So, as opposed to just a regular old spell book, the grimoires have actually absorbed magic. So, and as you can see, we've got all these different types. Magical tattoos. We have seen recently, 5th edition had some additions for magical tattoos. This is not as detailed. It's not as in-depth. Personal stave. So if your magic users want to have cool personal staffs that have special abilities, that's how you'd go about doing that. Have spell catalysts. So these are ingredients that will actually help boost the abilities and results of spells. We have spell hearts, which are like talismans, but they continue to work all the time. We've got consumables. So these are basically one shots as well. So we've got a few of those. Permanent items. We've got some new decks. And we also have some charts, some tables telling us how you can use just a regular deck of playing cards to represent the decks. There's some interesting new magic items. The restful tent right there, which we just had right there. Thought that was kind of cool. There's a sonic tuning mace. There's no image of it, but to me it just sounds odd. So it's like a mace, but it's like a tuning fork. And I'm trying to figure out how in the world would the fork part of the mace actually be usable as a weapon. To me, it seems kind of odd. All right, so then we get into the last major section here, and it is the Book of Unlimited Magic. So what this addresses is different approaches to magic within your Pathfinder world. There's a lot of cool stuff in here, but this is also what I think is probably not going to be used by a lot of people. I'm sure there are loads and loads of players and game masters out there who are very happy with the way the magic system already is in Pathfinder. They're not looking for a non-Vancian approach to magic. Something else that I would have to float out there as well is that I can't see a whole lot of support for these in the future because there's so many of them. So you're not going to see an adventure path where it's going to be like, oh, well, if you're using rune magic in your games, then you're going to want to approach it like this. If you're using cathartic magic in your games, you're going to see, I don't see that happening. So take that with a grain of salt. Once again, I have no inside information from Paizo. This is just my gut reaction to this. But a lot of this is pretty interesting. So cathartic magic. So essentially cathartic, I should say cathartic, not cathartic. Flaming Huron's joined us. Very cool. Good to see you, Flaming Huron. We finally got one of our chat moderators here. Once again, want to point out that the hat here, you can win my copy of the Starfinder Galaxy Exploration Manual if you can tell me what team this is that's represented on my hat. So, also, might as well roll out the other trivia questions. So, because we're getting close to the end of the book, I don't want to just be like, oh, yeah, well, here, we're done. Now, here's the trivia questions, because I want to give you an opportunity. So, to win this copy of the first chapter in the Strength of Thousands adventure path, which is Kindred Magic, this is the newest Pathfinder adventure path. Here's the trivia question. I showed you there are a lot of authors as well as artists involved in Secrets of Magic. The person who's closest to giving me the total, or if you get it right, that's all good. Whoever's closest to the total, first one is going to win Strength of Thousands. So you do have to live in the continental U.S. to win this, and it will be shipped out media mail. So just so you know, And you get one guess. That's right. Thank you, Nicholas. Only get one guess. So that is your first answer, your first trivia question. Your second trivia question. And when you pop out your answer, total authors, writers combined, yes. It is the second one, 245 trioxin. It is the total of authors. Well, it is the total of credited authors and artists combined. In fact, let me take a quick peek here. Additional writing, yes. Authors and additional writing. So, yes, that is the people who I would credit on the review for the review page is what I'm talking about. So, when you give your guess, just say path and then the number. So, Starfinder, it's another number. See, this gives you a chance to win without knowing. So, this is going to be for the first chapter of the Horizons of the Vast adventure path for Starfinder. This is Planetfall. And I mentioned there are traditions, arches for magic. Hopefully you were hanging out long enough to hear that. So there are traditions, there are arches, and there are new backgrounds. Person closest to the total number of those, once again, one guess, just put, star and the number. They will win Planetfall. All right, so let's get back to the review because we're going to finish up. So cathartic, I don't know, why did I say cathartic? Jeez. Magic is emotional magic. So this is magic that is based upon an emotional focus. We've got elementalism. This is actually the longest section of the books of magic here. So we've got, here we get to, remember I had mentioned that we've got some new monk aspects as well. So that was that. So we actually have a few pages of that. We also get a new archetype as well. The elementalist. We have flexible preparation. So this is just essentially changing up how you would go about putting together your spell list when you're going to begin an adventure. So you can see very, very short, just a couple of pages. We got geomancy, which is based on terrain. You get some new archetypes there as well. Of course, with it based on terrain, you're looking at if you were in a water environment, your water spells would be much more powerful. So we've got ley lines. So if you're familiar with various different, even modern thoughts on magic, they involve ley lines. Pervasive magic, where it's basically almost everybody knows some sort of magic. So this would be a setting where you have just about every character class is going to have some sort of access to some sort of magic. All right, so 245 Trioxin has gotten the Starfinder question correct. It is exactly 30. Totaling up the traditions, the arches, and the backgrounds is 30. So Nicholas points out this kind of feels like Tasha's Cauldron of Everything for Pathfinder. Sort of. To me personally, I think this is far more focused than Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. So then we have Shadow Magic. I thought this is very cool. We got the Shadow Caster. Got Shadow Companions, Shadow Familiars. Hey, look, it's Drizzt. Oops, sorry. Wrong series. Right. So Kevin points out there's nothing for marshals in this book. Not really. There really isn't, unless, as an example, you're going to use like pervasive magic. Um, there's some stuff for monks as well. So we have soul seeds, which is essentially sources of magic that reside within. We have soul forged armaments, where the magic is actually gained from weapons and armor and equipment. Another archetype as well. Then we got rune magic. So if you are a fan of the Rune Lords, you've got a new archetype, and you've got rune magic, which of course is magic that is utilized through symbolization. So Phil says it's interesting to see if Guns and Gears will provide the counterpoint for martial characters. Maybe. That's a possibility. I know that is one that people are looking forward to. I think, if I remember correctly, that's the Gen Con release, is Guns and Gear. I might be wrong, but I think that is the Gen Con release. So we have true names, where if you are familiar with quite a few different fantasy novel series, knowing the true name of something gives you power over it. Now we have Wellspring magic, where the way I would kind of explain Wellspring magic is, if you are familiar with Dungeon Crawl Classics, you can you can actually have much more powerful spells, but you are risking feedback and bad things happening. So critical failure. So Nicholas says, so many gaming companies are skipping Gen Con this year. Yeah, it's really weird. I'm still going because I'm already on the hook. So I am still going to be going to Gen Con, and there are companies that are advertised as being exhibitors, like Arc Dream Publishing, who I had spoken with, and they're like, we told Gen Con we weren't coming like 8 months ago. So, but they're still listed as an exhibitor. So I don't know. So I've got some interviews lined up. I'm sure there's many companies that I've never heard of as well that I'll be able to get some interviews put together too. Flaming Heron's asking if I've teed up all my interviews. No, I have not. I am actually starting to put the finishing touches on that. All right, so Russell Higgins has joined us as well. Anyway, so that is Secrets of Magic. Let's swing on over to the other camera, because I'm going to give you some final thoughts about this book and give it a review score. So as much as I was knocking the unevenness of the artwork in this book, I'm not going to ding this review score that hard for it, because, as I mentioned, so Kevin points out Wellspring magic is like, yeah, wild magic. Yes, that is pretty much what it is. But one of the aspects of the Wellspring magic is that it can easily backfire if you're trying to cast spells that are more powerful than your level. You can try, you can certainly attempt to. So, like I said, if you're familiar with Dungeon Crawl Classics, it's a little bit like their magic system. Anyway, so there's a lot in here I really like. I think the mages and I think the summoner classes are really, really well presented. Once again, with just about any role-playing game, what we start to see as more and more supplements come out, start seeing a bit of a power creep. I got to be honest, I'm not positive both those classes are going to be well balanced against other classes as well. I think they should be all right, because they have been play tested quite a lot. Secrets of Magic did go through a lot of open play testing. So that is something to keep in mind, that many role-playing games that have that eventual power creep that just keeps going and going and going and going shouldn't see as much. There's loads and loads of spells. There's over 200 spells contained within. There are a lot of different options as far as you don't like fancy and magic. You're not a fan. Well, here you go. Although I have to say, one of the things that I've always considered as far as like magic in fantasy role playing games is like the concept of mana, magic points, things like that. Harn is an example from Columbia Games. I know I'm throwing out Harn, where it's sort of casting magic is exhausting. So it's not necessarily, well, you've prepared these spells and now I'm going to cast them. Although nowadays it's more the spell slots than anything else. It's not necessarily like, well, I only have these spells available to me because these are what I memorized. But yeah, that was pretty tricky, old school, when it's like you've got one spell, you got one first level spell. Which one are you going to memorize? Ah, crap. You're not going to end up using detect magic. Should have had magic missile. Don't know what to tell you. Anyway, but I think it gives you a lot of great options as far as providing a different sort of background for your magic in your game world. Once again, on the flip side, as I mentioned, I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of support for those variations of the magic system and mechanics, because it would be almost impossible for Paizo to be able to cover all of that every time they've got an adventure or a new supplement book or so on and so forth. So I don't believe they're considering any of that in the, what was it? Ultimate Book of Magic. Is that what it's called? The last section, Book of Unlimited Magic. None of that is considered like canon. Everything else is. So really, I think a lot of people are going to get a ton of use out of this, especially with the 2 new classes and over 200 new spells. We've got some new options as far as archetypes as well. I thought they're very, very cool. So there is an opportunity to get a lot out of this book. You really can. Do want to mention, though, that I don't think this is the sort of book that every player is going to need to have. And I know a lot of times people will ask, well, so XYZ book, should each player have that, or should just like the game master have it? This is one of those books that I think is really aimed at a game master. That said, you might consider, if you are a player, you may not necessarily need to have the hardcover, right? There is also the pocket edition, which is $24.99. This hardcover is $49.99, clocking it at 256 pages. So you could go with the pocket edition, or you could go with the PDF for $14.99. So that is something you can keep in mind as well. But all in all, I really do like the book. I think this contains a lot of goodies in here, a lot of gaming goodness that you can certainly utilize in your Pathfinder game world. Only dings on it is the introduction is kind of odd. I didn't care for that, where it's like, okay, some of it's presented as, hey, we're talking to you as a gamer, and hey, this is taken from the ancient book of blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? Just give it to me like game material, okay? It's a little weird. And like I said, the artwork's kind of uneven. There's some really good artwork, and then there's some other stuff where it's kind of like, And I thought it was kind of weird that there's seemingly going back to that very cartoonish style of character design. Yeah, like I said, it's no big deal. I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm taking 3 points off the review score. So all in all, on a scale of 0 to 10, I give Pathfinder Secrets of Magic a very, very solid 9 out of 10. I think it's that good. I think if you are looking for variations in how to present magic in your Pathfinder world, as well as Plenty of brand new spells that are pretty cool. You're going to want to add this to your collection. So Russell says 8.5. No, I give it a 9. So Phil says players should consider getting the spell cards whenever those release. What I would probably recommend when we talk about like spell cards and things like that, this is what I recommend. I recommend everybody in the group kicks in and has Russell was guessing at a time 8.5. You were close. You were close. Anyway, I was going to say that what I always recommend as far as like those spell card decks and like we've got the big massive box of like monsters and stuff that Pathfinder does. I recommend everybody, all the gamers in your group, that kick in and pick it up for the GM. And then what you do, like the spell cards, then the players hang on to the cards that they've got the spells for. I mean, they don't take them home with them. Game Master keeps them, but whenever you're playing, take those cards out and give them to the players so that they've got them in front of them. All right, so we still have 2 contests going on. Let's go back here. So you can still win both the Kindred Magic, which is the first chapter to the new Strength of Thousands Pathfinder Adventure Path. Whoever's closest to the total number of writers, authors, writers, and artists given credit in Secrets of Magic. And if you can tell me what team this is, you win a copy of the Starfinder Galaxy Exploration Manual. So I will give you everybody a couple of more minutes. Hey, everybody, you got a couple more minutes to yeah, this isn't alcohol either, so Mimets. Yes, I was stationed on the USS Mimets. Anyway, give you a couple more minutes to get those answers in. And Russell Higgins said, did I win the car? No car giveaways. Also, should point out, if you are watching after the fact, leave me a comment in the comment section. Be nice. And I will randomly select 3 winners to each get one of those the PDFs of one of the giveaways. So I'll pick somebody for Kindle Magic. I'll pick somebody for the Planetfall, as well as somebody for the Starfinder Galaxy Guide. Marist Red Foxes. Russell's actually close. Russell's close, but that was his guess. So that's it. All right. So it looks like we've got our numbers in maybe for the Strength of Thousands. And the winner is on the Strength of Thousands. I'll give everybody one more minute. See, I said minute correctly that time to get their guests in. All right. I know that wasn't a minute, but I don't see any other things popping up in chat. So, okay, Flaming Heron, let's see your guess. Let's see your guess. Okay, Disavowed said 55. All right, well, isn't this good content? Wow, this is good content now. Just nothing, silence, me looking off to the side because I'm looking at chat. Yeah, man, that's good content. All right. Okay, so the closest, let me go back, double check. All right, Clint Gibson was the closest. Clint said 78. I did not say you couldn't go over. And the total of authors, writers, and artists who worked on Pathfinder Secrets of Magic is actually 73. So it's like, it's a lot. There are a lot of folks. All right. Anyway, so Flaming Aaron said, I figured it'd be 60 something. So this cap, which this is actually the second time I've worn this cap. This is the Yorkville Foxes. Yorkville, Illinois. It is the high school team. I just think that is a super cool logo. I like that logo a lot. I have absolutely no affiliation with the teams for the high school whatsoever. None. I don't know anybody whose kids go there. I don't have any relatives that go there. My niece and nephew, well, my niece is still in high school, but she's in Aurora. So it's like, so Flaming Red says, certainly pops. Russell said, that's a cool logo for a high school. I know, that's why I picked it up. And this is actually a really nice hat. I was like, okay. Because usually you see these, like some of these team hats, they're garbage. It's like, no, this is pretty nice. It's pretty nice. All righty then. So before I go, do want to mention that I got a package yesterday that I certainly was not expecting. Clint Gibson's like, yay, thanks. All right. So if you were the winner of either Kindled Magic or the Planetfall, shoot me an email with your address, and I will get these out. And of course, like I said, comment in the comment section. Even if you watch live, you're in the running. But I do want to give people who did not have an opportunity to watch a chance at winning something. So Sarah says she's got a friend whose kids go to Yorkville, but they're in elementary school. So, yeah, they don't get to wear this hat. I guess they could wear the hat. So Flaming Red said, I had a t-shirt for a sporting team I never played for. So I figure if you like it, why not wear it? Yeah, I've got a bunch of sports gear that I never, I didn't play for the Bears, the Hawks, or the Blackhawks, or Cubs, anything like that. All right, anyway, so I got this package, and it came, and I'm like, I don't even recognize the, distribution that it came through. So the Kid Foxes for elementary school, says Russell. So it was from Modifius Entertainment. So I am going to allow everybody who's still hanging out in chat to vote. What are we going to take a peek at on Monday's show? Because yes, even though it's a holiday, since I'm only doing 2 shows, I'll still do a show. As long as something, doesn't come up where it's like, oh, the whole family's doing something. But it was from Modifius Entertainment. So I got copies of both the Fallout role-playing game. This is the 2D20 role-playing game, which Sammy did a review of. And I also got the Dune role-playing game. So everybody gets to vote right now. Give you a moment or two to voice your choice to see what you would like to see on Monday's show, and that's what we will take a peek at. So it's either Fallout or it's Dune. All right, so we got 2 Dune already. Bob Smith has joined us in chat. Good to see you, Bob. Thanks for popping in. So Russell Higgins votes 3 times for Dune. Looks like everybody's saying Dune, so I guess we are going to take a look at Dune on Monday's show. So very cool. Very, very cool. All right. That's it for this time out. Pretty long show. So Flaming Heron says, yeah, Fallout does look good, though. Oh, we'll get to look at that, too. It's just not going to be first up. So that'll be Monday's show. Anyway, yeah, Kevin says they had to pop back in to vote. Should point out, Kevin might be doing some RPG reviews for us. So we are working on that. So we might have another addition to the contributors to the Gaming Gang. So that's cool. All right. Anyway, if you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. Because not only will it let you know when the dispatch streams live right here on YouTube, I'll also inform you when I upload other videos, such as tomorrow's review of Call of Cthulhu, Horror in the Orient Express from Chaosium Inc. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who watched live and hung out, thank you very much. Hadn't done a live review in quite some time. It's been over a year. So thank you for hanging out for that. Of course, I know there are other people out there who don't have an opportunity to watch live. Thank you as well. I appreciate anybody taking time out to watch, even if they're watching on Memorex. So I will be back on Monday. We already know we're going to be taking a look at the Dune role-playing game from Modifius Entertainment. And of course, everybody enjoy the rest of your week. Have a great weekend. And until I see you next, here's hoping that each and every one of you enjoy plenty of great gaming with your own gang. Oh, you're still here. Well, while you're kicking it, how about subscribing to the Gaming Gang channel? Or seeing the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch? Or finding out what YouTube recommends you check out here at my channel? And of course, don't forget, get your geek on at thegaminggang.com.